Number 1. 1966 Ford Galaxy 500, offered at $25,000 and currently located in Albion, Michigan. This 1966 Ford Galaxy 500 is a great example of how simplicity can sometimes be the biggest attraction in the classic car world. While many vintage cars are heavily modified or restored beyond recognition, this Galaxy appears to focus on the qualities that made these full-size Fords so popular in the first place. What immediately catches my attention is the clean, straightforward combination of a 289 cubic inch V8 and an automatic transmission. The 289 has long been known as one of Ford's most dependable engines, offering smooth performance, easy maintenance, and a driving experience that's well suited to a comfortable cruiser like the Galaxy. The blue exterior is another feature I find appealing. In my opinion, the long body lines of the 1966 Galaxy look especially elegant in blue, giving the car a classic appearance that stands out without being overly flashy. These cars were designed during an era when American manufacturers prioritized both style and road presence, and the Galaxy remains a strong example of that philosophy. With approximately 70,000 miles showing on the odometer, this Ford appears to have been driven and enjoyed rather than simply stored away. For many enthusiasts, that's actually a positive sign because regularly driven classics often stay in better mechanical condition than cars that sit for years without use. The seller provides only a brief description, but the mention of a clean title and no significant known issues suggests that the car is being presented as a ready-to-enjoy driver. The included car cover is also a nice bonus, indicating that the vehicle has likely been protected and cared for during ownership. What I like most about this listing is that it feels honest and uncomplicated. There are no extravagant claims or lengthy lists of modifications, just a classic Galaxy equipped with a reliable V8 and automatic transmission, offered to someone who appreciates vintage American motoring. Overall, my opinion is that this 1966 Ford Galaxy 500 would make an excellent choice for someone looking for a comfortable, full-size classic with timeless styling and proven Ford reliability. It may not be the most aggressive muscle car of the era, but it offers the kind of relaxed cruising experience that made the Galaxy a favorite among American drivers for decades. Number 2. 1974 Chevrolet Monte Carlo, offered at $14,500 and currently located in Two Harbors, Minnesota. This 1974 Chevrolet Monte Carlo appears to be an appealing classic personal luxury coupe that combines big block power with solid overall condition. While first-generation Monte Carlos often receive the most attention from collectors, the 1973 to 1977 models have been gaining appreciation among enthusiasts who enjoy their distinctive styling, comfortable ride, and strong V8 performance. The biggest attraction here is undoubtedly the 454 cubic inch V8 engine. A big block Chevrolet is always a desirable feature in a classic car, offering plenty of torque and the kind of driving experience that many muscle car enthusiasts seek. According to the seller, the car runs and drives well, and it is backed by a rebuilt Turbo 400 automatic transmission, one of General Motors' most respected and durable transmissions. This combination should provide both strong performance and dependable cruising capability. Another positive aspect is the reported condition of the body and underside. Rust and structural deterioration are common concerns with vehicles from this era, especially in northern states, so hearing that the body and undercarriage are in very good condition is encouraging. The seller also mentions that the car has new tires, which can save a future owner additional expense and improve overall drivability. Inside, the Monte Carlo features swivel bucket seats, a unique and desirable option that adds character and period-correct luxury. These seats are often appreciated by collectors because they were one of the more distinctive features available on certain GM vehicles during the 1970s. The seller does note that the front seats could benefit from reupholstering, which may be one of the few cosmetic items needing attention. The vehicle has also received halo headlights, giving it a slightly more modern appearance. Additionally, the original vinyl roof has been removed, which may be viewed differently depending on the buyer. Some enthusiasts prefer the cleaner look without the vinyl top, while others may see the removal as a departure from the car's factory appearance. The paint is also described as being a non-original color and not perfect, suggesting that the car is best viewed as a driver-quality classic rather than a concours-level restoration. At an asking price of $14,500, this Monte Carlo appears to offer a reasonable balance between performance, condition, and affordability. The presence of a 454 big block, rebuilt transmission, solid body, and desirable interior features helps support the value. While it may require some cosmetic improvements to reach its full potential, it seems capable of being enjoyed immediately without major mechanical work. Overall, I believe this 1974 Monte Carlo could be a strong choice for someone looking for a classic American cruiser with big block power and a solid foundation. It may not be a fully restored show car, but its combination of performance, drivability, and overall condition makes it a vehicle worth serious consideration for enthusiasts who appreciate 1970s Chevrolet classics. Number 3. 1969 Dodge Dart Swinger, offered at $55,000 and currently located in New York Mills, Minnesota. This 1969 Dodge Dart Swinger sounds like a serious street machine that was built to deliver performance first and foremost. Unlike many classic muscle cars that rely on factory originality to justify their value, this Dart appears to be focused on power, drivability, and proven upgrades that transform it into something far more aggressive than what originally left the factory. The first thing that immediately grabs my attention is the reported 450 horsepower output from the legendary 340 V8. Among Mopar enthusiasts, the 340 has long been considered one of Chrysler's best small-block engines. Known for its ability to rev freely while still producing strong torque, the 340 earned a reputation for punching well above its weight class. In a relatively lightweight A-body platform like the Dart Swinger, 450 horsepower can make for an extremely entertaining driving experience. Another feature that stands out is the 727 torque flight automatic transmission paired with a 3700 stall converter. In my opinion, this setup tells you exactly what kind of car this is. The 727 is one of the toughest automatic transmissions Chrysler ever produced, and the higher stall converter suggests the engine is built to operate in a more performance-oriented power band. This isn't simply a cruiser, it's a car designed to accelerate hard when the throttle is pressed. The mention of mini-tubs is also significant. For those familiar with muscle car builds, mini-tubbing allows wider rear tires to fit underneath the car, improving traction and giving the vehicle a much more aggressive stance. To me, that indicates this Dart was built with serious performance intentions rather than just cosmetic upgrades. I also like seeing the inclusion of exhaust cutouts. While not everyone uses them regularly, they add an extra layer of personality to a muscle car. With the cutouts open, the car can unleash the full sound of the engine and exhaust system, creating the kind of raw Mopar soundtrack that enthusiasts love. One detail that gives me confidence in the car's history is the seller's statement that it was a family-owned vehicle that has always been stored indoors. Equally important is the claim that it was never a neglected field car or abandoned project rescued after decades outdoors. In my experience, cars with a continuous ownership history and proper indoor storage often age far better than vehicles that spent years exposed to harsh conditions. The reported 5,000 miles since completion is another positive sign. It suggests the build is no longer in the fresh, untested stage but has accumulated enough miles to work through potential issues while still remaining relatively new. Many enthusiasts prefer this situation because it means the car has already been driven and sorted. Visually, the orange exterior combined with a black interior is exactly the kind of color combination that fits a late 1960s Mopar muscle car. Dodge offered some of the most memorable colors of the muscle car era, and bright performance-oriented colors continue to attract attention at shows and cruise nights. What makes the Dart Swinger especially appealing is its size. Compared to larger muscle cars such as Chargers, Coronets, or Roadrunners, the Dart is smaller and lighter. In my opinion, that often translates into a more responsive and exciting driving experience, especially when paired with a powerful engine and upgraded drivetrain. The asking price of $55,000 places this car in premium territory, but based on the information provided, the value appears to come from the quality of the build, the horsepower level, the performance upgrades, and the apparent care the car has received throughout its life. This is not being marketed as a survivor or factory original collector piece. It's being presented as a purpose-built muscle car. Overall, my opinion is that this 1969 Dodge Dart Swinger represents the kind of Mopar build many enthusiasts dream about. The 450 horsepower 340, 727 automatic transmission, 3,700 stall converter, mini tubs, exhaust cutouts, and indoor stored history create a package that seems focused on delivering maximum enjoyment behind the wheel. For buyers who value performance and driving excitement over strict originality, this Dart appears to be a powerful, well-maintained, and highly desirable classic muscle car. Number 4. 1964 Ford Galaxie 500, offered at $12,300 and currently located in North Aurora, Illinois. From my perspective, this is the kind of classic car that appeals to people who actually want to drive and enjoy their vintage vehicle rather than keep it hidden away in a garage. The 1964 Ford Galaxie 500 represents an era when American cars were big, comfortable, and built for long-distance cruising, and this example seems to embrace that philosophy perfectly. The first thing that jumps out at me is the asking price. At just $12,300, this Galaxie appears to offer a lot of classic car for the money. In today's market, it's becoming increasingly difficult to find a running, driving, and largely complete full-size American classic at this price point. What I find especially encouraging is the extensive list of recent maintenance. The seller mentions new brakes, a new starter, alternator, belts, hoses, battery, wiring, gauges, and a recent oil change. In my opinion, those upgrades are often more important than shiny paint because they directly affect reliability and the overall ownership experience. One thing I really like about this listing is that it doesn't try to present the car as a flawless showpiece. Instead, it sounds like an honest driver-quality classic. The seller openly mentions some wear on the front bench seat and minor rust spots that have already been treated. Personally, I appreciate that kind of transparency because it helps set realistic expectations. The black exterior paired with a beige interior is also a timeless combination. To me, it gives the car an elegant appearance that fits the Galaxie's long body lines perfectly. Even decades later, this color combination still looks classy and sophisticated. Another detail that caught my attention is the claim of approximately 75,000 original miles. While any mileage claim on a classic car should always be verified independently if accurate, that would be relatively low for a vehicle that is now more than 60 years old. The original interior is another highlight in my opinion. Preserving original interior components is becoming increasingly difficult as replacement parts become harder to source. The fact that the cabin remains in good shape adds character and authenticity to the car. I also find it interesting that the seller has added practical upgrades such as charger ports while retaining classic features like the cigarette lighter. Those small touches make the car easier to live with in the modern world without completely changing its vintage personality. The seller repeatedly describes the Galaxie as a great cruiser, and honestly, that's exactly how I see it. This isn't a muscle car designed to dominate drag strips. It's a comfortable, full-size American automobile that seems perfectly suited for weekend drives, local car shows, and relaxing trips down scenic back roads. Another positive sign is the mention of a solid frame. In my experience, structural condition is one of the most important aspects of any classic vehicle purchase. Cosmetic issues can often be fixed over time, but a solid foundation is what really matters. At its current price, I think this Galaxie occupies a very appealing spot in the classic car market. It offers vintage style, modern reliability upgrades, a comfortable interior, and plenty of road presence without requiring the kind of investment often associated with more famous muscle cars. Overall, my opinion is that this 1964 Ford Galaxie 500 looks like an honest, well-maintained classic that's ready to be enjoyed. It may not be a concours-level restoration, but it appears to be exactly the kind of car that delivers the most important part of classic car ownership, getting behind the wheel, turning the key, and enjoying the drive. For someone seeking an affordable entry into the world of vintage American automobiles, this Galaxie seems like a strong candidate with plenty of charm and a lot of enjoyment left to offer. Number 5. 1976 Ford Elite, Torino, offered at $23,000 and currently located in Rosemount, Minnesota. This is one of the most intriguing survivor cars I've come across because it appears to offer something that simply cannot be recreated: originality. While restored cars can certainly be beautiful, a genuine low-mileage survivor often tells a much more authentic story about automotive history, and that's exactly what makes this 1976 Ford Elite stand out. The headline feature here is undoubtedly the mileage. With just over 11,000 original miles, this Ford has reportedly traveled less in 50 years than many modern daily drivers cover in a single year. If the mileage can be documented and verified, that alone makes the car exceptionally interesting to collectors who value originality over restoration. What really catches my attention is the seller's claim that the car still wears its original paint and retains most, if not all, of its factory components. In my opinion, that's where the true appeal lies. Original paint, original trim, original interior materials, and even the original spare tire create a level of authenticity that becomes increasingly rare with every passing year. The Ford Elite itself occupies an interesting place in automotive history. Introduced during an era when American manufacturers were transitioning away from the muscle car wars of the late 1960s and early 1970s, the Elite was designed to offer personal luxury, comfort, and style. It combined the long, elegant proportions of the Torino platform with upscale appointments that appealed to buyers seeking a comfortable cruiser rather than an all-out performance machine. Power comes from a 351 Windsor V8 equipped with a 4-barrel carburetor and dual exhaust. In my opinion, that's an excellent engine choice for a car like this. The 351 Windsor has earned a reputation as one of Ford's most respected small-block V8s thanks to its durability, strong torque, and excellent parts availability. It's an engine that provides enough power for enjoyable cruising while remaining relatively straightforward to maintain. The red exterior paired with a red interior perfectly captures the style of the mid-1970s. Today, some buyers might view an all-red color scheme as bold, but that's exactly what makes survivor cars fascinating. They preserve the tastes, trends, and design choices of their era without modern reinterpretation. Another detail I appreciate is the seller's emphasis on the car's cleanliness underneath. Anyone can polish paint and detail an interior for photographs, but the underside often reveals the true story. A clean undercarriage on a 50-year-old Midwestern car is particularly noteworthy and may support the claim that this vehicle has led a remarkably sheltered life. At $23,000, the asking price initially may seem high to someone unfamiliar with survivor vehicles. However, in my opinion, the value of a true survivor isn't measured the same way as a typical used classic car. Once a vehicle is restored, its originality is gone forever. Cars that remain largely untouched become increasingly desirable because they serve as reference points for collectors, restorers, and enthusiasts seeking authenticity. If I were evaluating this Elite, I would pay close attention to documentation supporting the mileage claim. Service records, ownership history, inspection reports, and original paperwork can dramatically strengthen the case for a low-mileage survivor. I would also inspect the paint carefully to confirm its originality and evaluate how well it has aged over the decades. One aspect I particularly like is that the seller doesn't appear to be marketing the car as a performance monster or heavily modified showpiece. Instead, the emphasis is on preservation, originality, and condition. For many collectors, that's far more impressive than horsepower figures or aftermarket upgrades. Overall, my impression is that this 1976 Ford Elite represents a rare opportunity to own what appears to be a remarkably preserved piece of Ford history. The combination of extremely low mileage, original paint, original components, a desirable 351 Windsor V8, and exceptional overall condition makes it far more than just an old Ford. If the survivor claims are accurate, this could be one of those increasingly rare time capsule automobiles that offers a genuine glimpse into what a new Ford Elite looked and felt like nearly 50 years ago. For collectors who appreciate originality above all else, this car may be far more special than many fully restored classics. Number 6, 1969 Plymouth Road Runner 383 Magnum, offered at $49,500 and currently located in Prior Lake, Minnesota. This 1969 Plymouth Roadrunner is exactly the type of Mopar that many collectors spend years searching for. The Roadrunner was built with one mission in mind, delivering serious performance at a reasonable price, and it has since become one of the most respected muscle cars of the golden era. What immediately grabs my attention is the fact that this example is described as a matching numbers car with just 57,000 actual miles. For enthusiasts, originality matters, and when a classic muscle car still retains its factory drivetrain, it often becomes much more desirable in the collector market. Under the hood is the legendary 383 Magnum V8 paired with Chrysler's durable 727 automatic transmission. In my opinion, this combination represents one of the best all-around setups available in a late 1960s Mopar. The 383 offered strong performance while maintaining excellent street manners, making it a favorite among drivers who wanted both power and reliability. Another feature I find particularly appealing is the rare bucket seat interior with a center console shifter. Many Roadrunners were ordered with bench seats, so bucket seats and a console add a touch of exclusivity while giving the interior a more sporty feel. Combined with the green exterior and matching green interior, this car has a very distinctive appearance that reflects the bold styling trends of the era. The seller also states that the car retains all of its original sheet metal. In my opinion, that's one of the most impressive aspects of the listing. Original metal is becoming increasingly difficult to find on muscle cars from this period, especially examples that have survived for more than 5 decades. The California history is another positive sign. Cars that spent much of their lives in dry climates often avoid many of the rust-related issues that can affect vehicles from harsher environments. Add in the original spare tire and even the original carpet, and this Roadrunner begins to feel more like a preserved survivor than a heavily restored showpiece. What stands out most to me is the seller's confidence in describing the car as straight and flawless. While every buyer should always inspect a classic vehicle personally, those comments suggest a high level of pride in the car's overall condition. Overall, my opinion is that this 1969 Plymouth Roadrunner 383 Magnum represents the kind of authentic muscle car that continues to attract serious enthusiasts. With matching numbers, low mileage, rare bucket seats, original sheet metal, and the legendary 383 Magnum V8, it appears to be a highly desirable example of one of Plymouth's most iconic performance models. Number 7. 1969 Ford Galaxie 500 convertible, offered at $18,500 and currently located in Washington, Iowa. This 1969 Ford Galaxie 500 convertible appears to be a very attractive classic cruiser that offers a combination of originality, comfort, and usability at a price that seems reasonable in today's collector car market. Full-size convertibles from the late 1960s continue to attract enthusiasts who appreciate their spacious interiors, smooth ride quality, and unmistakable American styling, and this example appears to check many of the right boxes. One of the most impressive details is the seller's claim that the car is rust-free and was acquired from its original owner. Finding a full-size convertible that has reportedly avoided significant rust issues can be a major advantage, as body and structural repairs on these large vehicles can quickly become expensive. The fact that it comes with the original owner's manual also adds a nice touch of authenticity and suggests that the car may have been cared for throughout its life. The vehicle is equipped with several desirable factory features, including power steering, power front disc brakes, air conditioning, and a power convertible top. These options make the car significantly more enjoyable to drive and help distinguish it from more basic examples. The air conditioning system was converted to R134A refrigerant in 2011, which can make future servicing easier and more practical compared to the original system. The seller also notes that everything works, which is always encouraging when evaluating a classic convertible. Electrical accessories, convertible top mechanisms, and climate control systems can sometimes be troublesome on older vehicles, so a fully functional example can save a future owner both time and money. Recent maintenance includes a new battery, fuel pump, fuel tank, and sending unit. These updates suggest that attention has been given to the car's reliability, particularly within the fuel system, which is an important consideration for any classic vehicle that is intended to be driven regularly rather than simply displayed. The yellow exterior paired with a gold interior creates a distinctly late 1960s appearance that reflects the era well. While color preferences are always subjective, this combination gives the car a unique personality and helps it stand out from the more common red, black, or blue classics often seen at car shows. At an asking price of $18,500, I believe this Galaxy offers a compelling value proposition. Many classic convertibles have become increasingly expensive in recent years, especially those with desirable options, solid body condition, and documented ownership history. While it may not carry the high-profile status of a Mustang or a muscle car, the Galaxy delivers a comfortable open-air driving experience that is becoming harder to find at this price level. Overall, I think this 1969 Ford Galaxy 500 convertible would appeal to buyers looking for a turnkey classic that can be enjoyed immediately. Its reported rust-free condition, one-owner history, functional accessories, and recent maintenance make it sound like a well-preserved example. If the vehicle presents in person as well as described, the asking price appears fair, and it could be an excellent choice for someone seeking a dependable and distinctive American convertible from the golden era of full-size automobiles. Number 8, 1974 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme, offered at $15,000 and currently located in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. This 1974 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme is one of the more interesting listings because it falls somewhere between a completed classic and a project waiting for its final chapter. Unlike many fully restored cars that command premium prices, this Cutlass appears to offer an opportunity for the next owner to finish a largely completed build while potentially gaining value in the process. The first thing that stands out is the seller's transparency regarding the salvage title. According to the description, the title designation resulted from a police seizure rather than collision, flood, or structural damage. While any salvage title should be researched carefully and verified by a buyer, I appreciate that the seller addresses the issue directly instead of trying to hide it. In my opinion, honesty about a vehicle's history is always a positive sign. What really catches my attention is the fact that the seller has owned the car for more than 20 years. Long-term ownership often tells a story that photos cannot. Generally speaking, people do not keep a vehicle for 2 decades unless they genuinely enjoy it or see something special in it. That level of commitment suggests this Cutlass has been more than just another car sitting in a garage. The exterior condition also sounds promising. The seller rates the paint as a 9 out of 10 and describes the chrome as brilliant. For a mid-1970s personal luxury coupe, presentation matters a great deal, and a sharp silver exterior paired with a white interior can create a very elegant and distinctive appearance. In my opinion, the color combination fits the Cutlass Supreme perfectly and gives the car a refined look that still turns heads. Under the hood sits Oldsmobile's 350 V8 equipped with a Holly Street Dominator intake, Edelbrock 4-barrel carburetor, headers, and true dual exhaust with Flowmaster mufflers. That combination suggests this isn't simply a stock cruiser. While it may not be a dedicated performance build, these upgrades should provide improved breathing, a stronger exhaust note, and a more engaging driving experience than a factory configuration. One thing I particularly like is that the modifications appear focused on enhancing the character of the car rather than radically changing it. The Oldsmobile 350 has always been respected for its durability and torque, and the aftermarket upgrades should complement those strengths while preserving the vehicle's classic personality. The biggest unfinished portion of the project appears to be the interior. The seller mentions that new carpet has been installed, but the seats have not yet been reinstalled. As a result, the car will need to be trailered home. In my view, this is both a challenge and an opportunity. For some buyers, incomplete assembly is a drawback. For others, it represents a chance to finish the vehicle according to their own standards and preferences. I also find it encouraging that the seller was planning a modern air conditioning conversion before running out of time. That suggests the vision for the car extended beyond cosmetic improvements and into making it more enjoyable for real-world driving. The seller believes the car could be worth significantly more if fully completed, and while market values can vary, I can understand the reasoning. Mid-1970s Cutlass Supremes have developed a strong following in recent years, especially among enthusiasts who appreciate the styling, comfort, and V8 power of the era. What I find most appealing about this listing is that it doesn't pretend to be something it isn't. The seller openly acknowledges that the project is unfinished, yet also highlights the substantial investment already made. With over $20,000 reportedly invested, much of the expensive work may already be behind it. Overall, my opinion is that this 1974 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme represents a compelling opportunity for the right buyer. The long-term ownership history, strong cosmetic presentation, upgraded 350 V8, quality performance parts, and largely completed restoration suggest a car with considerable potential. While it still requires some finishing work, it appears to offer a solid foundation for someone who wants a distinctive classic Oldsmobile without starting from scratch. For enthusiasts who enjoy putting the final touches on a project, this Cutlass could be a very rewarding classic to own. Number 9. 1977 Buick Skylark Coupe 2D, offered at $10,000 and currently located in Sioux City, Iowa. From my perspective, this is one of those forgotten classics that rarely gets the attention it deserves. While many collectors focus on muscle cars from the late 1960s and early 1970s, vehicles like this 1977 Buick Skylark offer a unique glimpse into a different chapter of American automotive history. The first thing that stands out to me is the reported 54,952 original miles. If that mileage is accurate, this Skylark has seen remarkably limited use over the years. Personally, low-mileage survivor cars are often more interesting than fully restored vehicles because they provide a better picture of how these cars actually looked and felt when they were new. What I find particularly appealing is that this appears to be a largely original example. The seller mentions that everything works, including the heat, air conditioning, lights, and radio. In my opinion, having all of those systems functioning properly is a major advantage, especially for someone looking for a classic that can be enjoyed immediately without a long list of repairs. Under the hood is Buick's 3.8-liter 231 cubic inch V6 engine. While it may not have the headline-grabbing power of a big block V8, the Buick 231 earned a reputation for durability and reliability. Personally, I think this engine fits the character of the car perfectly. It's designed for comfortable cruising and dependable transportation rather than outright performance. The blue exterior paired with a matching blue interior is another feature that really captures the spirit of the late 1970s. To me, color-matched interiors are one of the most distinctive styling trends of that era. They give the car a period-correct look that immediately transports you back to the decade when it was built. I also appreciate the seller's honesty regarding the condition. Rather than claiming the vehicle is perfect, they mention that the engine could potentially run smoother and point out the cracked plastic trim piece near the rear bumper. In my experience, sellers who openly discuss flaws often inspire more confidence than those who try to present every vehicle as flawless. One thing I like about this Skylark is that it seems to occupy a middle ground between a collector car and a practical weekend cruiser. It's old enough to attract attention at car shows, but simple enough that many maintenance tasks can still be handled by hobbyists with basic mechanical knowledge. At $10,000, I think the car presents an interesting value proposition. Finding a classic coupe with low reported mileage, working air conditioning, a clean title, and mostly original condition isn't always easy at this price point. The fact that it has had only 2 owners also adds a bit of appeal in my opinion. Cars that remain within a small chain of ownership often receive more consistent care and maintenance throughout their lives. What stands out most to me is that this Skylark doesn't seem to be pretending to be something it's not. It isn't advertised as a rare muscle car or an investment-grade collector vehicle. Instead, it appears to be a well-preserved example of a classic American coupe that has survived nearly 5 decades while remaining functional and enjoyable. Overall, my opinion is that this 1977 Buick Skylark is a charming survivor that offers vintage style, low reported mileage, and everyday usability. It may not be the most famous Buick ever built, but it represents an era that is becoming increasingly appreciated by enthusiasts. For someone looking for an affordable and distinctive classic that stands apart from the usual Mustangs, Camaros, and Chevelles, this Skylark could be a very enjoyable addition to a collection or a fun weekend cruiser with plenty of personality. Number 10. 1960 Chevrolet Biscayne 4-door sedan, offered at $24,900 and currently located in Hortonville, Wisconsin. This is a classic example of a car that prioritizes originality, drivability, and vintage charm over raw muscle car performance. While many collectors chase V8-powered Impalas and high-dollar performance models, vehicles like this 1960 Chevrolet Biscayne remind us that some of the most enjoyable classics are the ones built for comfortable cruising and everyday enjoyment. The first thing that stands out is the car's Idaho history. For classic car enthusiasts, hearing that a vehicle spent much of its life in a dry western climate is usually a positive sign. In my opinion, that is often one of the reasons cars from western states tend to survive with less rust than their counterparts from regions with harsh winters and road salt. The seller notes that the 6-cylinder engine has been rebuilt. That immediately catches my attention because Chevrolet's inline-six engines have long been known for their durability and smooth operation. They may not deliver the excitement of a big block V8, but they offer dependable performance and a driving experience that fits the character of a full-size Chevrolet from this era. For many collectors, reliability and ease of maintenance are every bit as important as horsepower. Backing the rebuilt engine is an automatic transmission, making this Biscayne an easy and relaxed cruiser. In my opinion, that combination perfectly suits the car's personality. This is not a drag strip machine. It's the kind of classic that encourages leisurely drives, local car shows, and weekend outings. What impresses me most about this listing is the extensive list of restoration and maintenance work already completed. The seller mentions a rebuilt front suspension, new ball joints, bushings, brakes, brake cylinders, weather stripping, windshield, carburetor, and tires. Those are not flashy upgrades, but they are exactly the types of improvements that make a classic car enjoyable and dependable to own. The new base coat and clear coat paint finish, applied both inside and out, suggests a significant investment was made in the car's appearance. Combined with the all-new interior, it sounds like this Biscayne has received the kind of attention that transforms an aging vehicle into a presentable and comfortable classic. The blue exterior paired with a blue interior is also very fitting for a 1960 Chevrolet. In my opinion, period-correct color combinations like this help preserve the character of the car and create a more authentic vintage feel than modern custom color schemes often do. One aspect that makes this car particularly interesting is its body style. Four-door classics don't always receive the same attention as two-door hardtops or convertibles, but they have developed a loyal following among enthusiasts who value practicality and affordability. A four-door Biscayne can provide much of the same driving experience and nostalgic appeal while often remaining significantly more accessible than comparable two-door models. At $24,900, the asking price places this car in a range where condition becomes extremely important. Based on the seller's description, much of the expensive mechanical and cosmetic work appears to have already been completed. For a buyer seeking a turnkey classic rather than a restoration project, that could make the price easier to justify. If I were evaluating this Biscayne, I would want to inspect the quality of the paintwork, review documentation for the engine rebuild, and verify the condition of the undercarriage. Those details often determine whether a restored classic represents a fair value or an exceptional value. Overall, my impression is that this 1960 Chevrolet Biscayne is a thoughtfully refreshed classic designed to be driven and enjoyed. The rebuilt 6-cylinder engine, renewed suspension and brake components, fresh paint, new interior, and rust-friendly Idaho background all contribute to a package that appears both attractive and practical. While it may not have the performance credentials of Chevrolet's more famous muscle cars, it offers something equally appealing, a comfortable, stylish, and approachable piece of American automotive history that looks ready for many more years on the road. Number 11. 1972 Mercury Cougar XR 7 convertible, offered at $18,999 and currently located in Waukesha, Wisconsin. This 1972 Mercury Cougar XR 7 convertible is one of those overlooked classics that deserves far more attention than it usually receives. While many collectors focus on Mustangs and other muscle cars from the era, the Cougar offers a unique combination of style, comfort, and V8-powered cruising that makes it a compelling alternative. The first thing that stands out to me is the bright yellow exterior paired with a black interior. That's a color combination that instantly captures the spirit of the early 1970s. With the convertible top lowered, I think this car would attract plenty of attention whether it's parked at a local car show or cruising down a scenic highway. One detail I particularly like is the car's history. According to the seller, it spent much of its life in Las Vegas before coming to Wisconsin. In my opinion, dry climate vehicles often have a significant advantage because they're less likely to suffer from the rust issues that can affect classics from harsher environments. The seller even describes the car as rust-free, which is always a major plus. The original 351 two-barrel V8 and automatic transmission may not make this Cougar a tire-shredding muscle car, but that's not really the point. I see this as a comfortable grand touring convertible designed for enjoyable cruising rather than dragstrip performance. The seller notes that the engine runs smoothly and that the mechanical components have been well maintained, which is exactly what many classic car buyers are looking for. Another feature that catches my attention is the extensive list of factory comforts. Power windows, power locks, bucket seats, a center console, and a floor shifter all help create a premium driving experience. These were luxury-oriented features in their day and still add to the car's appeal today. The newer power convertible top is also a valuable upgrade. Convertible tops can be expensive to replace, so it's reassuring to know that this important component has already been addressed. The inclusion of the original wheels is another nice touch for buyers who may want to preserve or restore the car's factory appearance. The only notable downside mentioned is the air conditioning system. While the components are reportedly still present, it currently does not function. Personally, I don't see that as a deal breaker, especially considering the car's overall condition and rust-free history. Overall, my opinion is that this 1972 Mercury Cougar XR7 convertible offers a lot of classic American motoring for the money. Between its desirable convertible body style, long-term ownership history, rust-free condition, and smooth-running V8, it appears to be the kind of classic that can be driven and enjoyed immediately while continuing to appreciate as a unique piece of automotive history. Number 12, 1962 Oldsmobile Dynamic 88, offered at $19,990 and currently located in Annandale, Minnesota. This 1962 Oldsmobile Dynamic 88 appears to be an exceptionally well-preserved full-size American classic that offers a combination of style, comfort, and originality at a price that seems quite attractive for the current market. While many collectors focus on muscle cars from the late 1960s, vehicles like the Dynamic 88 represent an earlier era of American automotive design and often provide tremendous value for enthusiasts seeking something unique. One of the strongest features of this Oldsmobile is its rebuilt 394 cubic inch rocket V8 engine. The 394 is widely respected among Oldsmobile enthusiasts for its smooth power delivery and strong performance characteristics. Paired with a 3-speed automatic transmission, the drivetrain should provide the effortless cruising experience that made full-size American cars so popular during the early 1960s. The seller describes the vehicle as being in excellent condition, and several details support that claim. The car is equipped with power steering and power brakes, two highly desirable options that significantly improve driving comfort. These features make the Dynamic 88 easier to maneuver and more enjoyable to drive than many classics of the same era that were equipped with manual systems. Visually, the car sounds particularly impressive. The green exterior and matching dark green interior with gray cloth inserts create a distinctive and period-correct appearance that reflects the styling trends of the early 1960s. According to the seller, the paint is outstanding, which can be a major factor in the appeal and value of any classic vehicle. The addition of side skirts, white wall tires, and original hubcaps further enhances the car's vintage character and gives it the elegant look that Oldsmobile was known for during this period. Another positive detail is the inclusion of the original jack and spare tire. While these items may seem minor, collectors often appreciate complete vehicles that retain their original equipment. Such details can help demonstrate the level of care the car has received over the years and contribute to its overall presentation. The reported mileage of 56,000 miles is relatively low for a vehicle that is more than 6 decades old. Although mileage should always be verified through available documentation, A lower mileage example is generally more desirable, especially when combined with a clean title and the seller's claim that the vehicle has no significant issues. At an asking price just under $20,000, I believe this dynamic 88 represents strong value compared to many other full-size classics from the same era. The combination of a rebuilt Rocket V8, excellent cosmetic condition, desirable options, and classic early 1960s styling creates a package that would likely cost considerably more if it carried the badge of some higher-profile collector vehicles. Overall, I think this 1962 Oldsmobile Dynamic 88 would be an excellent choice for someone looking for a high-quality vintage cruiser that stands apart from the more common muscle cars seen at shows and events. Its reported condition, attractive presentation, and strong mechanical foundation make it appear to be a well-rounded classic that could be enjoyed immediately while continuing to attract attention wherever it goes. Number 13. 1966 Ford Fairlane Convertible, offered at $20,000 and currently located in Durant, Iowa. This 1966 Ford Fairlane Convertible represents one of the most enjoyable types of classic cars you can own, a vehicle that combines V8 performance, open-top cruising, and long-term ownership history without reaching the price levels often associated with more famous muscle cars from the same era. The first thing that stands out to me is the convertible body style. Ford produced many memorable vehicles during the 1960s, but there's something special about a Fairlane convertible. It offers the classic lines and proportions that enthusiasts love while providing the freedom of top-down driving that instantly transforms every cruise into an event. Whether it's a weekend car show, a summer road trip, or simply an evening drive, a convertible tends to make the experience feel more memorable. Under the hood sits a 289 cubic inch V8 equipped with a 4-barrel carburetor. In my opinion, the 289 is one of Ford's most respected small block engines. It earned its reputation through reliability, smooth operation, and a willingness to rev that made it a favorite among enthusiasts. While it may not have the brute force of a big block, the 289 provides more than enough power to make a classic convertible enjoyable on modern roads. What makes this particular Fairlane even more interesting is the addition of an aftermarket camshaft and intake manifold. These upgrades suggest that the car has been given a little extra personality beyond its original factory specifications. Combined with the 4-barrel carburetor, these modifications should help the engine breathe more efficiently and deliver a stronger, more responsive feel behind the wheel. Another feature I appreciate is the presence of full-length headers and a true dual exhaust system. In my opinion, one of the best parts of owning a classic V8 powered car is the sound. A properly tuned dual exhaust setup gives the engine the kind of deep, unmistakable tone that reminds you why American V8s became legends in the first place. The C4 automatic transmission is another positive aspect of the package. Ford's C4 is known for being durable, straightforward, and easy to maintain. For many classic car owners, an automatic transmission enhances the relaxed cruising experience, especially in a convertible where comfort and enjoyment often take priority over outright performance. One detail that gives me confidence in this car is the ownership history. According to the seller, the current owner has had the Fairlane for 19 years. That is a significant period of ownership and often indicates that the vehicle has been cared for rather than passed quickly from one owner to another. Long-term ownership usually means the car has been maintained because it was enjoyed, not simply held for resale. I also like that the seller describes the vehicle as running and driving great. While that statement is simple, it is often one of the most important things a buyer wants to hear. Many classics spend years sitting in garages, but a car that remains roadworthy and enjoyable to drive is often far more valuable in practical terms than a project waiting to be completed. From a styling standpoint, the Fairlane occupies an interesting place in Ford history. It offers many of the visual cues people associate with mid-1960s American performance cars while remaining somewhat less common than a Mustang. Because of that, it tends to attract attention from enthusiasts who appreciate something a little different. At the $20,000 asking price, this Fairlane appears to offer a compelling balance between collectability, usability, and affordability. Comparable convertibles from the era can often command significantly higher prices, especially when equipped with V8 power and performance upgrades. Overall, My opinion is that this 1966 Ford Fairlane convertible is a classic that emphasizes enjoyment above all else. The 289 V8, performance enhancements, dual exhaust, automatic transmission, and nearly 2 decades of ownership history create the impression of a well-loved cruiser that is ready for its next chapter. For someone looking to experience classic American motoring with the wind in their hair and the sound of a V8 under the hood, this Fairlane appears to be a very appealing option. Number 14. 1967 Chevrolet Malibu, offered at $44,900 and currently located in Dubuque, Iowa. From my perspective, this 1967 Chevrolet Malibu represents one of the most attractive body styles of the entire muscle car era. Even though it's not advertised as a factory SS model, the 67 Malibu shares the same iconic lines and aggressive stance that have made Chevrolet A-body cars so popular with enthusiasts for decades. The first thing that catches my attention is the combination of a GM Goodwrench 350 crate engine and a TH350 automatic transmission. Personally, I think this is a very practical setup for someone who wants a classic car that can actually be driven and enjoyed on a regular basis. The 350 small block Chevrolet has earned a legendary reputation for reliability, affordability, and strong aftermarket support. Another feature I appreciate is the inclusion of an Engel camshaft and Mallory ignition system. In my opinion, those upgrades suggest that the car was built with performance in mind while still maintaining street-friendly manners. It's the kind of combination that can provide a healthy exhaust note and responsive acceleration without sacrificing everyday drivability. The seller also mentions power steering and power brakes, which are features I always like to see on classic cars. These upgrades make a noticeable difference behind the wheel, especially when compared to older vehicles equipped with purely manual systems. For cruising, weekend road trips, and local car shows, they add a level of comfort that many owners appreciate. One detail that stands out to me is the V-Force exhaust system. While exhaust preferences are always subjective, a properly tuned dual exhaust setup can completely transform the personality of a classic Chevrolet. Personally, I think a 1967 Malibu should sound as good as it looks, and this setup likely delivers that classic muscle car soundtrack. The blue exterior paired with a black interior is another combination that works extremely well on these cars. In my opinion, blue highlights the clean body lines of the 1967 model year while the black interior provides a timeless and sporty appearance. It's a combination that tends to age very well and remains popular among collectors and enthusiasts alike. Although the listing is relatively brief, the seller describes the vehicle as being in very good condition. From my perspective, that's often a positive sign because it suggests the focus is on the car itself rather than exaggerated marketing claims. Sometimes the best classic cars are the ones that quietly speak for themselves. At nearly $45,000, this Malibu sits in a competitive segment of the classic car market. However, when I consider the desirable body style, crate engine, upgraded ignition system, automatic transmission, and power accessories, I can understand why the seller believes the car deserves that valuation. What I personally like most about this Malibu is its balance. It doesn't appear to be an extreme race car build, nor does it seem to be a fragile showpiece that's afraid to leave the garage. Instead, it strikes me as the kind of classic that can be driven, enjoyed, and shared with others while still attracting plenty of attention wherever it goes. Overall, my opinion is that this 1967 Chevrolet Malibu offers a solid blend of classic styling, dependable mechanical upgrades, and everyday usability. It captures the essence of the muscle car era while remaining approachable for someone who simply wants to get behind the wheel and enjoy a piece of American automotive history. For enthusiasts looking for a clean, well-equipped Chevrolet A-body with proven components and timeless styling, this Malibu appears to be a very appealing option that delivers both character and driving enjoyment. Number 15. 1967 Plymouth Valiant Signet, offered at $1,000 and currently located in Spooner, Wisconsin. This is one of the more intriguing "what happened here" listings because it appears to combine a freshly rebuilt performance-oriented engine with a major mechanical failure that dramatically changes the car's value. Just weeks ago, this may have been advertised as an affordable Mopar cruiser. Now, after the reported transmission failure, it has become a project car with both opportunity and risk. The first thing that catches my attention is the rebuilt 318 V8. The seller claims the engine has less than 3,000 miles since its rebuild and describes it as having a lot of power. For Mopar enthusiasts, the 318 has always been respected as a durable and versatile small block engine. While it may not receive the same attention as the legendary 340 or 440, a well-built 318 can be a surprisingly strong performer and an excellent street engine. If the rebuild was done properly, that engine alone could represent a significant portion of the car's asking price. In today's market, engine rebuilds are expensive, and having a recently refreshed V8 can save a future owner thousands of dollars compared to rebuilding a worn-out original drivetrain. The Valiant Signet itself is also an interesting platform. Unlike many larger muscle cars of the era, the Valiant was relatively lightweight and compact. In my opinion, that makes a V8 powered example particularly appealing because the combination of a smaller body and healthy small block engine can create a very enjoyable driving experience. Another positive is the clean title. For project cars in this price range, having proper ownership documentation is a major advantage. Buyers often underestimate how much time and frustration can be involved in sorting out title issues, so having a clean title already in place removes one significant obstacle. The Craigar wheels add a touch of old-school muscle car personality. For decades, Craigars have been one of the most recognizable aftermarket wheel designs in American car culture, and they fit the character of a modified Valiant perfectly. However, the biggest factor in this listing is the transmission failure reported on June 13, 2026. In my opinion, this completely changes how the car should be evaluated. A non-functional transmission means the car cannot currently be enjoyed as intended, and the next owner will need to budget for repairs or replacement before getting it back on the road. The good news is that transmission problems are often easier to solve than major body rust or catastrophic engine damage. Depending on the exact issue, the repair could range from a relatively straightforward fix to a complete rebuild or replacement. Either way, it's something that needs to be factored into the total investment. What makes this listing particularly interesting is the price. At just $1,000, it feels like the seller has adjusted expectations to reflect the transmission problem. In my opinion, if the rebuilt engine is truly in good condition and the body is reasonably solid, there could be substantial value here for someone willing to do the mechanical work. The seller's interest in trading for an older Ford truck, particularly a 1973 Highboy, also suggests this may be more about changing projects than trying to maximize profit. Listings like that sometimes present opportunities because the seller is motivated by moving on to their next hobby vehicle rather than holding out for top dollar. If I were considering this Valiant, my first priorities would be verifying the quality of the engine rebuild, assessing the overall rust condition, and determining exactly what happened to the transmission. Those three factors would ultimately decide whether this is a bargain project or a money pit. Overall, my impression is that this 1967 Plymouth Valiant Signet has the ingredients for a very interesting Mopar project. The rebuilt 318 V8, automatic transmission, clean title, and classic styling are all positives. The failed transmission is a significant drawback, but at a $1,000 asking price, it may also be the reason the car offers so much potential value. For an enthusiast who enjoys wrenching and isn't afraid of a drivetrain repair, this could be an affordable entry into classic Mopar ownership with plenty of upside.